Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storm, here to help you unlock the mind, business, and spirit of your private practice success. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow, this is the place for you if you really want to create a thriving private practice. Before we dive in, I want to share something that can really make a difference in your business. Imagine having an expert in your pocket, someone available on demand whenever you need guidance. Well, that's exactly what my new program, Practice Momentum, offers. With over 30 years of experience at your fingertips, you can now get the support you need whenever you need it. Curious? Head over to brooklynstorm.com to learn more.
Hi, my name is Chloe and I'm part of the Practice Momentum program. I've been working with Brooklyn for a couple of months now and I can't believe it took me this long. Before I joined Momentum, I was trying to do everything. I was trying to refine my marketing. I was trying to update my website all the time. I was trying to network. I was trying to build my practice, and I had absolutely no idea what to focus on, what I needed to do first. I couldn't understand why nothing was working. It was so stressful because there was no money coming in at that point, and I had been following Brooklyn for a few years and I always wanted to do coaching with her, and I always kind of put it off because I didn't feel like I was at that point in time. It was my imposter syndrome pretty badly. Fast forward, the time felt right. Brooklyn was so accommodating and helpful with finding a way for me to do the program, and it's been absolutely life-changing. Brooklyn has helped me to plan and make goals and break down bigger tasks. Like, don't just do a website, actually break it into parts so you have areas to focus on, which I've never done before. I'm so grateful. I reached all of my goals in the last quarter, and that led to a massive increase in my caseload, in my income, and my website is actually generating referrals now, which is incredible. I didn't think it would ever happen. So I'm so grateful. If you're thinking about it, don't wait as long as I did. Absolutely do it. I couldn't speak highly enough of Brooklyn, her generosity, her care, and compassion.
Welcome. Oh gosh, that was a little bit croaky. It's the morning. It is the morning. It's Thursday morning. It's 8 a.m. Yeah, I'm a little bit croaky. I don't know why. I never get sick. But it is just, I'm in Victoria down on the Mornington Peninsula, and for the last week or so it has been frosty. But anyway, I am really looking forward to today because this morning, in like an hour and a half, I know I'm just kind of squeezing this in at the start of the day, aren't I? We've got another planning workshop, and I love doing these because, you know, not all of the women do business planning, which is totally fine. Everybody's different. We all have to figure out our own ways, right? But the reason that I really love doing these planning workshops is because I really love the reflections. I know. Well, two things. I love the reflections, but I also love hearing about the growth, and I love hearing about, you know, the results that they've had. Some of the things that have come out in terms of reflections before have often been around the idea of got so excited, like thinking about what we're going to do over the next quarter, and then overestimating what we could get done and underestimating the amount of time it takes to do things. And this is so common, guys. It happens so often, all the time. We often get like so excited about doing this thing for our business and very excited about, you know, how it's all going to feel when it's done. And we make these lists and we're like, okay, so these are all the steps I've got to take. I've got to do this. You write out your list and it all feels so good and it feels so achievable. And then, you know, the next day happens, and what happens? You go back to your regular routine. And when you're back doing your regular routine, you kind of maybe forget about your plan. You forget about it. And, then the other thing too is you get very distracted by the regular events of a regular day. Things like you normally see a bunch of clients in the day. Well, you know what? You go back to work the next day and you're still seeing your clients. And so the idea of the plan starts to fade. And then it becomes like a thing to do, and we just kind of put it off to the side because we prioritize the clients, we prioritize our families, and we prioritize everything else except the flippin' plan. And then, your business coach, aka me, comes along and says, hey, just checking in. How you going with your plan? And you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't had time yet. I haven't got around to it. And over the weeks, your business coach checks in and she's like, hey, how you going? Where are we at? What do you need? Send through the thing. And you still haven't done anything on your plan. And then you start to say, I'm so far behind. How did this happen? I don't know how I'm going to get back on track. And so you have like a little conversation and some coaching happens and you figure out a way. And, I say to you, well, which day of the week are you scheduling time in your diary to work on the business? And you say, oh, well, I don't. And then I say, okay, well, maybe we should be doing that. And I always want people to be scheduling time in the diary during their business hours because this is your business. When I was first learning about running a business properly, and not just showing up and doing the therapy, when I first learned about running a business properly, this was hard for me to get my head around. It was this idea of, well, I have to block out a morning, which I couldn't even do that because I was so scared of losing a client. I was so scared of losing money. I felt like I can't afford to not work. And so what I did was I just started with, like 1 hour a week. And the way that felt easiest for me was to do it on a day where I was, anticipating cancellations, which in the work that I was doing back then at the time will usually be a Monday or a Friday. So I would say, okay, well, I'll do it in the afternoon. I'll do it from 4 till 5 on Friday. That's when I'll work on my business. But even having that in the diary, while it was hard to get my head around because of my scarcity mindset and everything, I was never protective of it. So, for example, if a client said, well, I really want to see you, but I can only come up for on a Friday, I would see them. And then guess what? The business stuff wouldn't get done. And I'd feel bad about it. And it would be like a monkey on my back. And then I was doing businessy stuff after hours and on weekends, right? Which is a time that I really wanted to be spending hiking or doing my ballroom dancing or with Gabe, right? My dog at the time. I really wanted to be doing all these other things. But now here I am doing businessy stuff in my downtime, and it started to like just bleed into my personal time. And then I used to go to bed and I'd be thinking about what I hadn't done, and then that would make me feel like not great. And so it kind of like built up this cycle of you're not good at business, you're never going to be good at business. It was all this self-talk. What broke it for me though was the realization just one day of I was trading my time for money. And I'd heard people say that before, but so I knew it in my head, but I never really felt it until this one particular day. So I was doing the bulk billing Medicare work. So my pay, if you like, in inverted commas, from Medicare at the time, I think it was like $80 an hour. I had a PhD, 20 years experience, and I'm getting $80 an hour. Ridiculous. But I chose that. That's fine. I chose not to charge anybody because I had my own stuff going on. I want to help everybody. Oh, that was me, right? Big mistake. Anyway, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this work, not charging anybody, and I'm getting to work at 8 a.m. I'm leaving work at 6 or 7 p.m. because I had to book that many appointments to increase the odds of 6 or 7 turning up, right? It was crazy town. But this was my reality, and I didn't know any differently. I didn't know any better. I wasn't in any Facebook communities. I didn't have a business coach. Like, there was no, I was just there winging it, just doing my best, right? And yeah, one day I was just sort of sitting there and I looked at my diary and I saw all the appointments that had been booked, which was a lot. And then I looked at all of the clients that had turned up, even with getting confirmation texts from reception at the medical clinic, right? Not great numbers. And I just thought to myself that day, like, I can't continue like this. There's got to be another way. Like, I'm going to burn out. I felt like I was starting to burn out. And that was for me my tipping point. So even though I was aware, it didn't really land for me until I guess I was at the pointy end of the stick. And I think that's what happens for a lot of my women private practice owner clients that I work with too. I think they're often aware of things, but they don't take action until it's kind of like, oh, okay, this thing has happened, or my personal circumstances have changed, or, we're at the pointy end. So anyway, that's when I started like looking at, okay, how do I run a business? What do I do? And one of the very first things that I realized was I'm not actually allocating time. So yeah, wrapping my head around that was really, really hard. The other thing was I had no idea how to plan. For me, planning was like doing a brain dump of things and then just trying to work through it. The problem with that was I never knew if the brain dump of things was actually going to get me a client, or, I never even considered things like social media. I never considered building my audience. I didn't even have a website, right? So my list of brain dumpy things of what I thought I needed to do to get a client was totally without base. And if I'm honest with you, if I looked at one of those lists today, it's probably just going to look more like a to-do list rather than a business plan. So anyway, yeah, carving out this 1 hour felt really hard and uncomfortable initially. But then once I realized I don't want to keep working like this, then I kind of, I don't know, something shifted and I was like, nah, we're going to do it. So then I just blocked off a 2 hour period once a week. And I actually felt excited about it because I didn't book anybody into that 2 hour time slot, which meant now I had space without my head being cluttered. So I know you know that I've got ADHD, and for me that feels like my mind is constantly racing with a million and one unrelated thoughts, and I'm just trying to like catch one and pull it out. It's like catching a salmon from the river, during the trout season or whatever it's called. You know how you see the bears in Canada and they're just like pulling out a salmon? It's like all my thoughts were just like that, and I was just like grabbing anyone that I could possibly grab and trying to hold on to it and do something with it. But anyway, once I had this 2 hour time slot, it helped a bit because then I was able to say, no, I'm going to do that on Friday or Thursday. I think I ended up doing the 2 hours. So I was like, no, I'm going to leave that till Thursday. And that was good because it helped sort of calm everything down a little bit. But then what I noticed was on the Thursday would come and I would have lists everywhere, scrap bits of paper, you know me, scrap bits of paper, sticky notes. Like I'm a big post-it note person. I've got the full rainbow of post-it notes because you have to color code everything with ADD, right? I've got blue post-it notes for one thing, yellow for another, pink for another, purple for another, which I don't like the purple ones because they're too dark and I have to use like a Sharpie to write on them so I can see what I've actually written. And then I have to go and screw up all my other post-it notes because they aren't written in Sharpie and I don't like it when things don't match up. So then I have to like go and rewrite all the post-it notes again, all in Sharpie so they match. So it's kind of annoying. But anyway, so I realized pretty early on that when I had this 2 hour window, I could keep myself busy by just trying to like pick things that felt doable and quick from all my scrap bits of paper. But the other thing that I noticed was over time, I felt like the business wasn't changing, and I never really thought about why it's not changing. what happened instead was I just assumed that I was not good at business. And then I started to doubt myself and I started to think whether or not I could ever turn it around and all the stuff, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. And anyway, then I started to think I need to do things a little bit differently. So then I was like, I bought planners. I went down that rabbit hole, which I know you probably have too. Like, I bought the Steph Pace planner a couple of years ago. It cost me $100 US. I loved it. It was big and chunky. It was pink, which was awesome at the time. It had rose gold spiral binding, which I love. I mean, who doesn't love a spiral? Because is there anything worse than trying to write in a book that doesn't have a spiral and you've kind of got to like write on the left side of the page and it's just like a pain? But anyway, so I loved it and I set it up and I paid extra to get the stickers and everything and I did all of that and I loved it and I was so proud of it and I wanted to show it to everybody. But did I use it? Did I stick to it? No. And then the other thing too was now I had a business planner. I didn't actually know what I was meant to be planning. So I ended up just using it to, what was I doing? I was just like putting, oh, you got an appointment with, and I put initials, or 9 o'clock appointment with this one, 10 o'clock appointment with that one, 11 o'clock appointment with that one. And I was just writing down basically my client appointments because I didn't know how to plan for the business. I didn't know, what to be planning. I didn't know what to actually focus on. And even worse, I didn't even know how, if I knew what to focus on, how to actually do it, right? So what that would look like was I'd say to myself, well, I want more clients. So I would write more clients on a scrap bit of paper and then write it in my Steph Pace diary, but not know how I was going to get them. And so then I would write down things that I'd already been trying, right? Because I didn't know what I hadn't been trying, because again, you don't know what you don't know, right? So I just, underneath that little get more clients, I just wrote down do a GP meet and greet, like all the things that I'd been doing that weren't working. I wrote them down. And then do you think like I was motivated to go and do those things? Yes and no. Yes, because I wanted more clients, but no, because I knew that they weren't working for my business at the time. So what ended up happening was I didn't follow up with the planner. I didn't use anything. And as a result, it took me ages and ages and ages longer, I see that now, to get some traction in the business. So what I want you to take away from all of this is no, you don't have to have a formal business plan. I mean, as a business coach, I probably shouldn't say that, but in my experience, not everyone does great with a plan. I think they approach them more as a wish. And, when it comes to the actual implementation, they prioritize other things than working on the plan, because at the beginning stage of your business anyway, that's kind of where your head is. It's in how can I pay myself? How can I pay the rent? How can I make some money, right? And you don't want to do the things that are taking you away from that. So it's really hard in the beginning to sit down and do a plan, which is one of the reasons why we do 90-day plans or 90-day sprints and things like that. But even so, I see big differences in how people get results with the plans, how they work with the plans. And what I see is that no two women are the same and they will all use the plan a little bit differently. For example, there's one lady that I work with in Momentum and, she'll write her plan and everything, but she won't do it until I say to her, can I have a look at your plan on Thursday? And then she'll say, yeah, sure. And she'll do it Wednesday night. Or I'll say to her, hey, how are you going with this thing? And she hasn't done it. And she'll say, oh, I haven't done it, but I'll do it now. I'll do it today. So that's kind of her approach. She likes a deadline and she likes pressure. She likes time pressure. If she knows she's got 90 days to do something, she'll wait until day 89 to do it. So, now that I can see that, I say to her, let's make a daily plan so that you've got one thing you can do a day to tick off that's going to get you closer to the goal. So now she does like a little daily plan. So just like a bite-sized thing. All we've done is we've just taken the weekly plan or the weekly task and we've just like chopped it up into, 3 or 4 little bits, right? Easy. So that's how we're working it out for her now. Somebody else, they're resistant to planning. They avoid it, don't love it, kick and scream, don't like it at all. And then when we were working together sort of privately, what came out for her is she feels badly when she's not making progress on it. And so instead of working on the plan, she'll go and spend time with the clients because that fills her up and that makes her feel really, really good. But when she looks at the plan and what she hasn't done, she feels overwhelmed, she feels challenged, she feels confronted, her stories come up. So we figured out a different way of planning for her. So I think you just need to figure out what's going to work for you. In terms of ADD, right? Here's what I know works for me and for some of my clients when it comes to planning. We need novelty, right? There's got to be something fun about it. For me, that's usually creating stuff. I get inspired all the time. Like I am working with somebody or I'm on a call or I'm coaching somebody, and then I just suddenly get an idea of, oh my gosh, I could make this for Booked and Better, or oh my gosh, this is the 10th time I've heard this in the last 2 weeks. This is a thing. Okay, I'm going to make something for this, so I'm constantly getting all of these ideas. So for me, part of my plan is to, allow myself to have the novelty of things. I love that. I love to be creative and I love freedom. So I don't necessarily want to follow a formula or a recipe of how to do something. Sometimes I do just want to fly by the seat of my pants because that's fun for me. What works for me though, that works for me. I'm not saying it doesn't. I was just going to say like other things that work for me too. Thinking about not only the goal, but why and what's on the other side of it. So at the moment, for example, you know that I'm doing my 45-day experiment. My 45-day experiment, for those of you who are new, it's a long story. You can hear about it in previous episodes. But basically, I realized earlier at the start of the year that I generated 100K in sales. I had no idea how I had done that. Even though I was planning and tracking my numbers and everything, I still had kind of like in my head, I'm like, but I don't know how I did that. So I spent the next quarter trying to replicate it. I had a lot of lessons there. And then this quarter, I was like, okay, I'm going to try again. Learning from quarter one and quarter two. So quarter two was good. I mean, I didn't hit the 100K. I think it was only like 81.7 or something like that. I rounded it up to 82,000 in sales, but that's sales, by the way, right? A sale is what you sell something for. It's not the money that you're getting, right? A lot of my clients are on payment plans for things. So don't think like, oh, she's got 180 in the bank already and it's only, no, everyone's on payment plans. But anyway, it's the sales that I'm talking about. So then I took lessons from that and I was like, okay, I'm going to try again and I'm going to improve it again, because what I saw in the second quarter was that I spent a lot of time doing things and then deleting them a week or two later, right? Because it's me. It's just how I roll. For example, I think I shared with you, like I updid the whole entire waitlist page for Momentum and then hated it a couple of weeks later. Like I spent I think it was like 3 days or something working on it non-stop in hyper focus, doing all of the things, felt good about it in the moment, never looked at it again until like, I don't know, weeks later. And then I looked at it and it looked completely foreign to me. Like I don't even know who wrote it or what it was. And yeah, deleted it, got the current one up, right? Because thank goodness I had the foresight to make a copy of the original one. So anyway, the original one's back up and it's great. So I learned, there was a lot of time wasting here and maybe that's impacted, I was going to say impacting, but impacted my ability to meet that goal. So then I was like, okay, how can I learn from that? What are the lessons here? What do I need to do? And the lesson really was around trusting myself. The lesson was around leaning into my faith more, for me, faith is believing in things that you can't see. So for me, that's I really love to believe in energy, the universe, source, manifesting, my team, right? For me, my team is my pa that crossed over, my beautiful dog Gabe that crossed over, who was in my life for 14 years, and then of course, just for good measure, I'm also going to include there any, I don't know, guardian angels or ascended masters or things like that who might be relevant and want to help me in the highest good for me, my family, my clients, everybody else. So leaning into my faith became the strategy. And so anyway, this quarter, it's been a lot more around having a practice where most mornings I will get my Wealthy Woman Oracle deck. You can get it, by the way, anywhere. Like I think it's Amazon, Booktopia. I got it from Empress and the Wolf in Dalesford, and I think I paid about $50 for it, but I think you can get it for like $35 online. Anyway, and before I use the cards, I will then set intention. So I will call in my team. I will say, please work with me, through me, show me the card, like give me the card that's got the guidance on it for the thing that I'm focusing on today. Today, I really want to help somebody in a really profound way. Today, I really want my client who's already out there looking for me, but she's a bit lost because she can't see me. How can I get in her line of sight today? Like, what does she need to hear or see or experience? How can I match her wavelength today? Show me the thing. And so, yeah, I'll pull a card, and then I will ask myself a question based on what comes out of the card, in terms of how it relates to my intention. So, one of the cards I pulled a while ago was the Alchemist card. That card was all about, your wealth is in your wisdom. So the question I journaled for myself on was, what's the wisdom that I've gained over all of the years of working with women in private practices to overcome the challenges and hurdles and obstacles and, grow, like to break the glass ceilings. And I just started writing answers to that. And that's how I came up with all these things that I now use to, I use them. It's this journaling practice that allows me to write something that I trust, that feels good, that feels aligned for me. I will share it in a Facebook group, see how it goes. If it gets some good traction, then I copy and paste it into email. If it gets good traction there, then I will speak into it more on a podcast, because every one of those three platforms has a different audience for me. Yes, there are some people that are in all three. There are some people that are in two, and there are many that are in just one. So I want to make sure that it gets to as many people as I can. So it's been using these approaches that have been working for me, coming back to trusting myself. I don't need another course. I don't need another thing. I have the knowledge. I just need to get better at being self-reliant, right? So anyway, the other thing that I realized too was with this experiment of trying to generate our call in 100K in 90 days, I realized when I was away on my last trip that, I was talking to somebody else, and we were talking about how you can do things in half the time. And we were talking about the work day and how in Europe, in some countries in Europe, they have like a 4-hour work day and productivity increased. And anyway, I was reflecting on that, and I thought, I wonder if I can apply that to my 100K and 45-day goal. So then I said, okay, if I'm going to tell myself it's going to take 90 days to generate 100K, it'll take 90 days, because that's how my brain works too. Like that person I was telling you about before that likes a deadline, I'm the same. I like a deadline. So without a deadline or an end point, I don't get things done. They just stay on my to-do list and they will never get done. But if I know someone's expecting it, or if I know I need to do it by a certain date or else, I'll get it done the day before. So I thought to myself, well, I'll just halve the time. So I said to myself, right, we're going to generate 100K in 45 days and we'll see how we go. So that works for me. The other thing that works for me is having that focus. So for me at the moment, the focus is I'm doing this experiment for myself. It feels really good. I'm enjoying it. It's got novelty. It's fun for me. It's a nice challenge for me. It's a stretch. It's a massive stretch, and I like to be stretched. I like to face my fears. I like to deal with my stories because, of course, when you're doing a challenge like this, the stories come up. Who are you to think that you can do that? You're not in it for the money, so why are you doing it? All of this kind of stuff. All your stories come up, so you're constantly growing. And I want the growth because the growth makes me better for my clients, and I want my clients to have the best of me at all times, right? So, the other thing too is when I have that focus, and yours might be a money goal too, right? Or yours might be a client goal. But usually a client goal, what's on the other side of that for many of us, we don't talk about is money, right? Because it's not cool to talk about money. I'm shifting that narrative. I think as a woman in business, you absolutely need to be talking about money. Like, we've got to let go of this whole idea of the shame, the guilt. It's not polite to talk about your money. Like, I grew up with all of those stories, right? And it kept me in poverty for years, decades, right? By hook or by crook, I will not, on my watch, allow another woman to be financially disadvantaged as a result of how she feels about her money. I will do everything in my power to help her connect into what that money is going to do for her family, for her lifestyle, for her health and well-being, to reduce her burnout, to improve services to clients, all those kinds of things. So that's the other thing. Having a focus means that now I can still have a brain dump, right? I can still have a brain dump, and I can still get excited about all of the things that I want to do. But now I can be more intentional, and I can say to myself, okay, yeah, I get to do these 1 million things over here on my list, but first, this is it. But first, I'm going to do the one thing that will get me closer to my goal. So I do that first. Just get it out of the way. So the way I work now is, as I said, most mornings, I'm not going to lie to you, it's not an every morning thing that I use my cards and do the journal and, that doesn't happen every morning because life happens. We've got to be flexible, right? It doesn't happen every morning. But what does happen most mornings is I will do a brain dump, because I find for me when I write it down on paper, or I use the paid version of ChatGPT and I have a project. So, on the left-hand menu, you can have project. It looks like little folders. You can click on one of those little folders, rename it. So I just call mine Daily Brain Dump. And I just go in there and I just write down, hey, Chatty, here's all the things I'm excited to do today, plus the things that I'm not so excited to do that need to be done, da, 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 da. And, please make this into a nice list for me. Chatty makes it into a nice list. I throw that list into a Google Doc. And then what I do is I will have a look at it and I'll say, okay, these are the priorities for me from this list. And they're usually the things that excite me the most because, again, I love the novelty. I love the energy that comes with the excitement. But I always say, but first, here's what I must do today from this list in order to collapse time and get another step closer to the goal. So always, that's the first thing. So wherever I can, I try not to have a 9 a.m. appointment. If I have a 9 a.m. appointment, I will just start work half an hour early so that I can get that one thing done. Like today, my one thing is this podcast. In the last week, 4 new beautiful souls have joined Practice Momentum, right? And when I was speaking with them and I was asking them, like, how did you find me and all of this, it was through 2 things. It was, well, 3 things. It was through my Facebook community. It was through my podcast. Nearly all of them said the podcast. And then what was the other one? I can't remember. Facebook community. Oh, the website Wellness Check. I think they've all, 3 of the 4 have had a website wellness check. 3 of the 4 said it was the podcast. And I think 2 of them were already my circle from Facebook or something. So for me this morning, I'm going to do their, quarterly planning workshop that starts in an hour. So that goes from 9 till 11:30. It'll probably go till 12. From 12 till 1, I'm having a break. And then at 1 till 1:15 or 1:30, I'm catching up with one of the ladies in Momentum for something. And then after that, I know I'm going to be tired, because although I find these planning workshops really energizing, and I love working with my clients privately one-to-one as well, I know that once that's done and dusted and it's now like in the past, it's behind me, then it's like something happens to my body and it's just like, now I can just like this. And I just feel like myself kind of like, I don't know if relaxing is the word, but it's just like I'm calming down. That's a better way of describing it. Like, I'm calming down now, because all the other stuff for me is very energizing. So then, after I finish with this client at 1, I know I'm just going to be like calming down. And that's death for me when it comes to my business, because when I've like calmed down, I find it hard to like then concentrate and get in the mood to do stuff. So that's when I will do my boring things that don't require much brain power. Like, I will go into Henry and I'll reconcile my invoices or something, or I'll go and update a spreadsheet or something like that. I know not to do anything that's going to be important or big or stuff, not even creative stuff then. No, it's like a downhill, like, so but having that focus and saying, right, so I can, these are all the things I can do today, and they're all so exciting and I can't wait to do them. But first, I'm going to do this other thing. That helps a lot. So even if you don't have a mind for business planning, right? Like, I know neurotypical people, many can learn how to do that. And I know lots of people enjoy that and it works for them, but it doesn't work for everybody. What will work for you is having a go at trying different things and finding out what works for you. And you can steal any of my stuff, right? That's totally fine, like my approaches and how I do it. The other thing that really works for me is when I've done my little brain dump. So in terms of time, if I am doing the Oracle card deck and I'm doing the journaling and then I create an action step and implement that action step first, that can take me up to an hour. So I do it right at the beginning of the day. I'll do it like from, 9 till 10, or I will do it from 8:30 till 9:30, right? But it gets done first, but all that takes me about an hour, and then I can just enjoy the day because I know like I've done the work. And then I get to like just go and pick anything off the list that works. And so, I take those other items off my list and I put them as appointments in my Google Calendar, because I check my Google Calendar regularly and I have notifications set up, which can be a little bit annoying, but it's also really helpful because it keeps me on track. So every day I can look at my notifications and I can look at my Google Calendar and I can see all the little tasks that I've put down for myself, which come up as appointments, and I can just delete them as I do them, which makes my calendar go back to white. And I love a white calendar. So all my appointments are blue and my tasks are like a rosy red, for love and everything. And then as I do them, I clear them and it gives me back space, and that feels really, really good. The other thing that helps me to stay focused and achieve the goal that I have for myself is to connect with my why. So really thinking about like what's on the other side of this goal. And for me, it's freedom, it's choice, it's peace of mind, it's safety, it's security, it's abundance, it's all those kinds of things. So thinking about that is really, really helpful. And then the other thing that's really helpful is, and again, this is hard. It's not easy. It's hard, but trying to be more reflective on what I thought when something happened. So trying to be more reflective about, oh, that didn't feel good. Well, what was I thinking to myself about that thing? Or, I don't know, if somebody books a discovery call for practice momentum, right? If somebody books, like, they want to have an application consultation with me, they want to ask questions, they already know they want to do the program, they've filled out the paperwork, they've submitted it, they're on board. I know it's not even a sales call, but sometimes I can still get in my head about it and think, you know, how can I help this person, make the right decision for them? How can I give them the information? How can I ensure that they have what they need? Like, all of that kind of stuff. How can I be in the right energy and things like that? And so with this new-ish discipline, intention of trying to be more aware of what I'm thinking rather than just being on autopilot all the time, it's allowing me to think to myself, okay, if you go into this call, for example, thinking this and anticipating this, what do you think your experience is going to be? What do you think the experience will be like for the client? Like, all this pops into my mind. So that is really, really helpful, because I really believe, as you know, that identity and beliefs in your subconscious are more responsible than any business strategy will ever be for you getting the result. I think you need to have you've got to have foundational beliefs, you've got to have a growth mindset, all those kinds of things in order to be able to fully use a business strategy and get a result from it. If you have a business strategy but you don't feel good about it, it does not align with your values, you don't feel competent, you have low self-worth, you have your own stories going on, stuff like that, you just won't either implement it, or you'll only implement like a tenth of it, or you just won't implement it well. Like, you won't go all in with it. You will just kind of like go in around the edges so that you can say you tried it. But we both know you didn't. So with that, and leaning more into that for myself, I started to like tune into, okay, what do I need to do here? Well, what would happen if I went into uncomfortable situations expecting that things were just going to go well for everybody? Things were going to go well. That would be me leaning into my faith, leaning into what I believe to be true. And one of the things that I believe to be true is that things are always working out for me. So whether or not somebody wants to work with me, or whether or not they want to join Booked and Better, or whether or not they want to listen to the podcast or unsubscribe from my email, like, I believe 100% that it's working out all the time for all of us. And when I can remind myself that this is what happens, like, anything that happens is not good and it's not bad, it's happening for the highest good of me, for my clients, for my audience, for my subscribers, for my listeners, for all of the things, that just takes a whole lot of pressure off the situation. And that's how I detach from the outcome. So by not being attached to the outcome, by having trust and faith and believing that whatever happens is in everybody's best interest, it means like there's no stress, there's no anxiety, there's no selling, there's no pushing. It's just being me. It's just being me. It's really just being myself. And that feels so easy, because there's no pretense. It's no like trying to imagine, oh, who do I need to be? Oh, what do I need to be doing? Or like, how are they expecting me to show up? Or what's the right way for a psychologist to do this? Or what's the right way for a counselor to do that? It's like, no, I'm just like, no, what you see is what you get. And to me, that's what, everybody talks about being authentic, right? But to me, that's probably how I would define authenticity. It's, for me, I think being authentic has absolutely helped my business grow, and grow quickly. It was when I had all these sort of realizations, and I started to just like, I just got to a point where like, no, I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to drop it. It's hard. It's effort. Like, no wonder I'm not loving doing this thing over there and that thing over there. No, I'm just going to like drop all of that, and I'm just going to be me. I'm going to take off all the makeup. I'm just going to put my hair in a messy bun. I'm just going to wear my black t-shirt every single day. I've got a million black t-shirts. It works for me. I hate making decisions. If you had a look at my wardrobe, it's got a few things in there, in terms of styles and stuff like that, but I've got probably about 10 of everything, because it's just, I don't like making decisions about what I'm going to wear. So it's just like, it's taken so much pressure off me. And now that I get to just be me, and it's like what you see is what you get. And I'm just going to call it as I see it. And if you want my help, understand it comes with things you need to know about. You need to know that there's ADD combined. What that means for you working with me or listening to me or reading my emails is that if you're listening to me, for example, I'm going to lose my train of thought because I daydream while I'm talking. I go off on moonwalks while I'm talking. It means that if we're having one-on-one coaching together, I'm probably going to interrupt you, which is going to be really annoying for you. But it's happening from my side because I don't want to forget this really important thing that I want you to have, because things disappear from my brain very quickly. So I'm just going to be like, oh, can I just stop you there? Can I just stop you there? Pause, time out, hang on. And I'll just blurt out the thing, right? If that's going to be a problem, maybe I'm not your person. But there's the things you need to be aware of when it comes to emails, when it comes to, I've got a portal, right? In the portal, you're probably in it already, so you probably have experienced this, in which case I'm like so sorry. But even like in Practice Momentum, I'm constantly updating things. I'm constantly upgrading things. I am constantly improving things. It feels really good. I'm really proud. I know it's going to help. I know it's going to get them closer quicker to where they want to be, and I just get so excited about it. And then I'll share the link, and then sure enough, somebody will come back to me and say, the link's broken. The link's not working. That's me. If you're in my world, you need to know you're going to get a broken link. It's going to happen. There are things that I overlook, despite having a post-it note or having a task on my diary that says, check the link. I'm pretty sure I've checked it on my side. Or the other thing too is I'll go and update it in maybe the portal, but I won't update it in the onboarding manual. And so then new people who join will be like, oh, this is so exciting, blah, 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 blah. Oh, hang on, I just tried to access the manual, link's not working. It says that the onboarding manual is in the owner's trash can. That's embarrassing. It happens. So, I think being really clear with people about, in the past, I would try and hide it. I would try and cover it. I would try and compensate for it. I would put myself through jumping through all kinds of hoops to try and make sure that it didn't happen. But despite my best intentions, despite me feeling like I'd done everything to make sure the link was going to work, there was always occasions where it still wasn't. And I never understood why. I didn't know then that I had ADD and I miss stuff. And I get carried away with I'm very easily excited. And I get carried away with that. But I will also see it through because I have hyperfocus. So you know that when you're in my world, if I say I'm going to do something, 9 times out of 10 I'll do it. And then because I have high standards and I want to make sure it's like the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, I'm going to like see it through. But then there are other times I'm like, oh, I've got this idea and yeah, maybe I'll do it. And who's on board and and then it will just fizzle. So if you've been listening to me for a while, you've probably experienced a bunch of that with me and you're still here, which is, I love that. Thank you. And if you have ADD as well, like, you know what it's like. Sometimes I'll come to my computer and I've got this big idea and I like want to do it. And then all of a sudden, like I'll open up the Google Doc and I'm just looking at the screen and I'm frozen because it disappeared from my mind. I can't even remember. So then I get frustrated with myself and then I don't know what to do. So then I'll go and do laundry or wash the car or muck around with Buddy or do something completely random that's not going to shift the needle on my business. And then when I'm doing that thing, quickly the idea will come back. And so then I'll race back into the study and, get on with it. So I really feel like it was as a result of starting to take off the masks, which is a work in progress. And by doing that, it's allowed me just to say, well, you know what? I have bent over backwards trying to please everybody for years and years and years, and it still didn't work. There were always people that just weren't pleasable. And, I see now that, it was just never possible to please everybody all the time with all the things. And now I'm what's the way to say it? I still want people to be happy. I still want people to be pleased, all of those kinds of things, but I'm not killing myself to make sure it happens. I'm not saying that their pleasure is my responsibility. Them being pleased is my responsibility. It's not. I know now I can only do the best that I can do. And if somebody's not going to be pleased with that, do you know what? That's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to crucify myself over that anymore like I did in the past. I'm not going to hate myself because somebody wasn't pleased with something or somebody unsubscribed or somebody, do you know what I mean? No, I'm just not. And what I found is that with this letting go of the masks and just saying, hey, what you see is what you get, it's so much easier for me now. I don't know why I was trying to be everything to everyone all the time and putting myself under so much pressure. Well, I do. It was because I have rejection sensitive dysphoria. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorm.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.